everyone. Welcome to another episode of Tiffany Ave Talks, where I talk to people I like about things I like. And today I am truly on a cloud because I have one of my favorite people from the internet, one of my creator inspos, podcaster, gamer, musician, designer, director, pianist, gamer, Patrick Cloud. Welcome.
It was a cool little list. Hello, thank you.
Like polka dots, the yellow and red part, and I'm a fan of polka
Well,
dots.
the whole
That's
bottle looks like you doing this. Nigga, shouldn't you be somewhere throwing barrels at Super Mario? What did 50 Cent do when he was hungry?
What?
58. Keisha, when you walked up, a fucking colonial soldier walked past. we saw a fucking red coat that was pale. sitting here like this, talking about.
Shake it out for a new Benz, yeah. Shake it out for a little Fifi, yeah. Shake it out for a little bit. I got cards, no speaking, yeah. I got cards, no split.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being a guest. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I just got over a little sickness. I had like a little cold, and every time I get sick in December, I get scared because it reminds me of 2019. I got sick in December, and then I didn't know what it was, and then COVID happened. And all my friends got sick, and I was like, uh-oh, is 2024 going to be crazy? But it was just something little. It was a little cough.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
I'm out the woods.
So I just want to let you know that you were very instrumental in like me following like podcasting and interviewing and that type of thing on the internet. On your podcast, you gave a lot of great advice about people wanting to get into media because there was almost like a trend at one point of bashing people who wanted to start podcasts, and I feel like it's still lingers a little bit, but some of the commentary was like it's already enough podcasts or we're sick of it. And on your show you said something to the effect of there's a lot of things. Like when you look at rappers, no one says that there are too many rappers. People welcome new people. So that was very encouraging, and it helped me believe in doing this.
I'm really happy that connected. I think that the whole there's too many is you're gonna get that with everything. If you want to be a lawyer and you're in that community, people are gonna be telling you there's too many lawyers. That's just because there's a lot of people who want to do the same stuff. So I feel like that shouldn't. I'm glad that connected because I rappers was a wild example. Because I feel like immediately people were like, there are too many rappers. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think I was talking about it's just about like how you approach everything, So I'm really excited that landed for you.
Yeah. A part of what made me a fan of yours is just like your ability to take thought and like turn it into a visual.
Oh, it's cracking. Hey, hold up. What? Can we help you? I'm here from the salad. Come on, let me in. What salad? Any of them. All of them. Spinach, what up, boy? Oh, wow. Wow. That's what's up. Potato, what's good? I'm out front. Oh, you don't know me, huh? You don't know me, huh? When your white family ain't around. That's what's up. I see you. Mac, what up, boy? Oh, macaroni, not you too. Y'all some haters, bro. Y'all awesome. Y'all invited him? What's he doing here? Egg is actually in a lot of salad. Man, shut up, quinoa. Your spelling is stupid. Man, that's what's up. That's cool. I remember this. It's because you're old. You're all dried up. You're not a grape anymore. Shut up. You dried up too. You just didn't change names. Yeah, it's true.
I want you to talk about the process of making those.
See it specifically.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's crazy. I recorded my. This is a interesting timing. I recorded a skit yesterday, and it was probably the first skit I've done in over 6 months. I really slowed down on skits, and I feel like a part of me thought it was because of the views. You know, like when you do skits used to be really, really popping, and you know, even All Def used to be all about skits, and then the internet kind of pivoted, and there's always people who did skits like, you know, the Caleb's and you know, the RDC worlds, and that stayed popping. But you know, I was just on Timothy Chatarangsu. He has a podcast that he let me on, and he was basically talking about skits and how they don't do the numbers that you would want, but it just kind of like fulfills something in you. I agree. I thought that was why. I thought it was because it was the numbers, but I realized it was because of the new landscape, like that TikTok kind of set forth, and it isn't really about being creative anymore. It's like the same way people group like meet up and see what the latest dance trend is or the latest challenge. Like skits and creativity got like lumped into that within the last few years, and like you can literally have a skit and then people will meet up and just, they won't even add anything new to it. They'll just recreate that skit and it'll keep going and it'll keep going. And, you know, originality kind of just got so far like separated from that. And I thought it didn't bother me. I thought it was kind of cool, but I guess it did because I definitely slowed down in the skit department. It was, I had a skit about, I was pretending to be different rats. And one of the rats like showed up with a piece of cheese and he was eating it and stuff, and it turned out that cheese was poisoned. It was like a trip. And I just did that because I used to do a lot of animal skits, and then like a year or so after I dropped that, they came out with a filter that had the little rat face. And that's my skit like took off over again with my voice, but people were just doing it with the rat filter. And everybody was like everybody just like kept tagging me in it, like they're stealing. And I was just like, no, that's just how it is now. It's all good. Like, and it became sort of like ironically like my biggest piece of work as just by myself. You know, it kind of just went so far out there that people just forgot that I did it unless they recognized my voice. And I thought it didn't bother me, but I also stopped doing skits. I did a skit yesterday and it just felt so good. And it kind of reminded me of how I used to think, which was like diversifying my page is more important than views. It's more important to have different types of content, even if some bombs and some does well, as opposed to just being a one-trick pony that does the exact same thing, just chasing the views. Because a lot of creators blow up like that, but it's kind of boring to me when they have one joke on their page. Or one style. So, you know, I've always made it a point to just kind of like have a bunch of stuff going on, even if some of it bombs. When I get the idea, I just go in my notes and I write it down. I write down the concept, but sometimes when I get an idea for a skit, like the dialogue comes to me right away. And sometimes that is tough because when the dialogue is coming that fast and it's that punchy, it's almost like you have to record it right then and there. Or you'll forget. So if I really just don't feel like recording it, I'll write it down like in my notes script form, just kind of like using some spaces to show the differences of what it's like a script, but it's not as like formatted as a script. I'll put little like action words and what I'm supposed to be doing. I'll even use like emojis for what expression I should be going for. Yeah, I'll pretty much write it out like a very simple script, and then the one I did yesterday was a little wordy, so I'll like airdrop it onto like a laptop so that I can see it, and then I'll record using my phone and just kind of like use it as a reference point. But I'm definitely going to start picking up skits just because not only is it really fun to do, but I noticed that it really helped with my acting skills because you're forcing yourself to be the straight man and the goofy person. You have to do the joke and react to it, and you have to kind of like feel both sides of it. And even though I have no plans on being an actor, it just helps me direct actors a lot better, knowing how to, being in their shoes.
I feel like they have layers. Like it's almost like how you said a script, like going through a story. But what's interesting is that it's in such like skits are a short time frame. So how do you make sure you cover, or do you think about covering beginning, middle, and end? Sometimes I feel like there's undertones to it. Do you think about all of that?
I think about, yeah, you have to think about the beginning, middle, and the end, but I kind of just think about the point of it, like beginning, middle, and end is so important because a bad skit just goes nowhere. It's like an unfinished idea, and you can tell. Like the worst thing in the world, and I can't believe people are still doing it, is the skit that ends with a gunshot. You know what I'm talking about? It'll be like an idea, and then like you're like, okay, I kind of get what they're doing, and then the punch will kind of be there, and then it'll just be like, and it'll go to black, and that is because they need something at the end. There's no punch at the end. You're supposed to have like a big laugh at the end. Long Beach Griffey is great at that. Trey Rags, I forget, amazing at that. Caleb, it's like it gets to their punches are so good that they get copied. A lot of times it'll be like a sad song at the end and it'll go black and white and they'll just like repeat something over and over and over again. Like that kind of stuff. Like that stuff is copied because a lot of people just don't know how to end the stuff. So making the viewer feel like the video ended and they like got something at the end, like it was worth it, is important to me, because that gunshot thing is just such a cop out. So I don't really think about it like beginning, middle, and end. I just think about like what the point of the video was, like the joke of it. And mine is more like setup, punch. There's not really a middle. I feel like if there's a middle, your skit's too long. It's like a joke, you got the setup and then the punchline. That's how I think about it, at least.
Okay, cool. Do you have like times when you feel most creative, like when you are getting majority of your ideas?
It happens throughout, but this past year I've been kind of like learning how to do that, like put myself in, I call it like a frequency, because I have a bad habit of trying to get into a different frequency, but like I surround myself in an environment where it makes it very, very difficult. I'll give you an example. I'll wake up in the morning, and because my job is so lax, I don't really have to be anywhere. Sometimes I'll have to decide like, okay, I want to get out of the bed and go to the gym. If you're very comfortable, if you're in like wrapped up in blankets, it's cold out there and warm in there, and you got rain sounds going on, like, and then your mind, you're just like, get up, leave your house, and go to the gym. Like that's a really hard transition to do. Like you're kind of setting yourself up for failure, because everything about what you're doing in bed is keeping you there. And that's why I learned to like transition out of that frequency so that it'll make more sense. So I'll like get up and take like a cold shower, or like start stretching or something like that. And in that process, it's way more easier. Like now I'm up and I'm doing this. Shower's not hard to do. And then I'm, stretching, or like, doing like a meditation or something to like center myself. Like that's not hard to do. But then by that time, you're so far removed from the frequency you were in bed that transitioning to the gym is so much easier. So I felt like I was kind of like, I had all these deadlines and all these things that I needed to create and ideate, but I wasn't putting myself in an optimal creative space. And the reason I knew that was I just thought I got my best ideas in the shower. I get my best ideas in traffic. That was just like, I just accepted that. Like, oh, that's just where it happens. But when I really broke that down, it was like the only reason it's like that is because it's a long period of time where you just have to sit there and think, like you're in the shower, you don't have anything else to do. You're thinking. You're in traffic, you don't have anything else to do. You're thinking. And when I'm at home, I'm just doing, like there's so much stimulation that there's no like room for that. So I started doing things like listening to meditation music in the car instead of music like rapping, because when you're rapping and singing and stuff, you're focusing on the lyrics, you're, you know, performing and stuff. But when you're listening to like almost like soundscapes, which I used to do when I was hiking, it kind of gives your thoughts like a soundstage to think of your own stuff instead of following a song. So I really like put myself in a lot of positions like that. I go to the gym and listen. I have like a meditation playlist. I started fasting every Monday because I noticed on set I wouldn't eat, because when I ate, I saw a trail off in my energy as a director or talent. But when I didn't eat, it was almost how like a like a caveman and old hunters, they when they were hungry, they hunted better because they had to. That's how it felt. I felt sharper, and I never really realized that I can do that at any point. If I fast for a day, the next day is like I'm completely sharp. I'm creative. I'm productive. Everything's really just like coming to me. So I'm just kind of like experimenting with creative ways of putting myself in a creative space.
Okay. So with you doing these videos and creating the content, another thing that you do is Pat Geo.
When did bears get this terrifying? Smokey didn't he didn't give me these vibes. He had on a fedora and some jeans. He had that shovel. People do this by choice. Like, people are really out there at night in a tent, no doors.
There are a lot of animal videos. Like there's thousands, maybe millions, I don't know. How do you decide which ones that you want to report on?
That's tough. There's like, I think that my biggest problem is, and we were just talking about writing down ideas. My biggest problem is collecting all of this stuff and only executing a very, very small fraction of them. So that could be with skit ideas. I could write 100 down and actually record and release 2. Pat Geo videos, I'll have thousands and thousands and thousands saved. And then just with how the internet is, that list keeps piling. And then by the time I'm ready to work, I'm usually getting something off of this recent level, and there's all this stuff. So it's tough. I think it's just a matter of me being in a place where I know that I can't do all of them. And if I did do all of them, I would be releasing way too much content. And I just kind of like, you kind of know which ones are going to go crazy, but I also have to have something to say about them. A lot of people who try to do like animal content, they're just like, look at this thing. This is crazy, right? But I kind of want like something unique to say about it, whether it's like a joke that comes to me. All of my videos I don't write them down. It's just off the top. But sometimes I'll look at it and I'll be like, okay, what do I want to say? Do I have an idea of what I want to say? Oh, I could say this. And then I'll start going. If that doesn't come to me, then I just sort of won't do it. But it's really hard to decide. I used to actually purposely avoid the super viral ones for some reason, just because everybody was giving their opinion on it, and I felt like I would just be not really adding anything. But that was just a really stupid idea, because the viral ones have, they're more likely to go viral for me too. So I think that was just me being a little douchebag, trying to be different and stuff. But I don't know. It's hard. It just really has to kind of like be the right moment.
Okay. So I want to talk about Roast Me a little bit.
He got a 12-year-old nemesis, nigga. Hey, brother, what was your first breakout video?
Brody's favorite show is Breaking Out Bad. Good.
Hey, you pissed off 200 people on the way here on the bus.
Joking on people, like people look at it as bullying and stuff. But when I watch it like on the show, and like the creation of it and seeing everybody that's like willing to participate in it, it turns into like art almost, like the way like timing, just the creativity, like the randomness of it all. So I wanted to know, when you thought of that, did you see it that way beforehand, or was it just because you were good at it, or what was your thought in creating that?
Absolutely. That was first of all, it was the best question I think I've ever been asked. That's exactly what I wanted, you know? It is an art form. And I'm kind of too soft to be like a real producer, you know, like a producer who just doesn't really care about how this affects people, you know, and just about how popular it is.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I care way too much about not even my audience, just people. So I knew that having a show where people were just clowning on each other needed to be done right, and it needed to be done responsibly, you know, like that's why I immediately have the sort of like South Park-esque discretion before every single session. These are professionals. If you do this and the other person isn't in on it, that's bullying, you know, because kids are impressionable. If you have a group of kids that are fans of Roast Me, they're going to be doing a version of that in school. We actually went to a school to talk to these kids because they were doing Great Taste in the classroom, like their own version of Great Taste in the classroom. So I knew that kids were, I mean, even adults, people will see this and be like, yeah, roasting, right? So the intent was to make it an art form, you know. The goal is to sort of make it just as big of a sport as anything else, you know, because I watch breakdowns of people doing watching Roast Me and breaking everything down, and they talk about it like it's a sport. They'll pause it and be like, okay, here are the players. This guy's you know, he shoots a lot, so he's gonna keep this going, and then this dude's a sniper. He's gonna kind of like fill it in. And you know, I wasn't on Roast Me until the third season. I was a cameraman until season 3. And the whole time, since I was also directing, I wasn't a good roaster before Roast Me, by the way. Like I people think I like grew up clowning on people. Yeah, I grew up like roasting with my friends, but not like artistically, you know. So I mean, I knew I had it in me, but I really learned just being in the post-production with the edits, seeing what worked, seeing what didn't work, the craft of it. And you can tell when somebody's more of a bully than a roaster. You know, it's like rapid fire. It's not creative. It's just like making fun of stuff. But I found that when it's creative and when the people involved are in on what's happening, it's not even like hurtful, you know, like you can, it's almost accepting. It's almost like you can call out somebody's biggest flaw. Like, let's say I had a giant like mole or something right here, or a giant pimple. If you're just like, if I'm like super insecure about it and you're just like boom, 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 booming, and I'm like, man, this is trash. I'm gonna hate you. But if we're like clowning on each other and I feel some type of way about the pimple or the mole, and we're everybody's joking about it in a creative way, and then we're, you know, dapping each other up afterwards, I'm probably going to feel a little bit better about it. It's almost like shock therapy. Like if you're just like, man, oh, I hope nobody notices my pimple, and then everybody has a good time, and you're like the center of it, but not the butt of the joke. I saw people sort of like warm up to it. And, you know, there's a very popular episode where we bring on Jay Wheels. He's the dude who's in the wheelchair, and he asked to be on it. That's a big part of it. We don't force anybody into this. It's something that they have to come onto it. And if we see that they're not taking the roast, or they're like taking it to heart, you know, there's almost been fights, of course. But then we don't even want that energy. We wouldn't invite that person back. But Jay Wheels was such like a bright light. Rest in peace. He asked to be on it. He was like, I do this. This is how I grew up. And then, you know, we were just like, okay. And we didn't even realize what we were doing, but they went in. I wasn't in the show yet. They went in on him just like they would anyone else. And then a woman walked up to us afterwards, and she was like, hey, what's up? I'm Jay Wheels' mom. And we were like, oh my God. We thought we were about to be. And she was like, this was so dope. I thank you guys for including him. You know, and this was so cool for him. And that's when we realized, like, sometimes not talking about certain things is disclusion. You know what I mean? Like being like, oh, I'm not going to make fun of the dude in the wheelchair. I'm not going to, no, I'm not. That's off limits. It's just like, if he wants to roast, that's messed up, you know? So that's when I was just like, wow, there's some healing abilities in this. It's definitely a lot of art, a lot of creativity. But the biggest thing is that it's just a good time, and it feels good when everybody can like make fun of themselves and each other and move past it and laugh and get a laugh, and then everybody's friends afterwards. It kind of lessens the pressure of actual bullying, because it's like we were just talking about reacting to negative comments. If you get a negative comment and you're just like, and you're going back and forth with that person, you just amplified that negative energy. But if you kind of just like use it, clown with them, clown back, a lot of times they'll just be like, man, I didn't even have a problem with you. I was just being an a-hole, So it just shows how to like laugh at yourself, how to laugh at life. And I love that you see it as an art form, because that is 1000% the only way it works. And a lot of people, they don't get that, and they try to roast, and it just comes off as mean or not funny and stuff like that. But that's the key.
Okay. Like, how do you measure success? Is it like where you set goals and accomplish goals, or like certain projects? Like, because I was thinking, like, when you work in a corporate setting, like 9 to 5, and they give you objectives and stuff, like job responsibilities and objectives, like they measure you on how you're performing. So with me personally, trying to like, I guess, transition from like that type of setting into creative setting, I always think about like, how will I know, like, how will I set objectives, or like applying that creatively?
And you're just talking about in terms of the creation and like direction of shows, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna give a kind of a bad answer, but it's honest, and I'm trying to change. I want to say that I would love to be on here and be like, it's not about the numbers, right? It's not about the reach and stuff like that. But what's tough is that I want to be better about this, and I want to kind of go back to how I used to think about it. But with the growing of All Def and my own page, it's like you do have criteria. You know what I mean? Like if I'm just constantly making shows that are bombing, but artistically they're great, I'm out of a job, right?
Yeah.
If I'm constantly bombing and no one's liking my YouTube channel and stuff like that, it's not growing, it's not generating any money. So it is about performance. It's tough to stake it all on that, because there's just so many factors that go against, I mean, like I just found out today that the algorithm actually does prefer race, like the algorithm hits harder for, I'm not gonna put that on them. It doesn't take off as well for creators of color, and that you can't even help that. You know what I mean? Like that's how the actual algorithm is built. And that seems very paranoid, but every now and then you get a peek behind the curtain and you're just like, oh, that's pretty messed up. So there are a lot of things that go against just numbers. But numbers are, I mean, they are important. And if you're consistently getting low numbers, then it's like, okay, at what point do you pivot? Is it just something that you just power through? And, it's very, very tough. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to get past. I want to get back to just execution, because honestly, that's how I used to measure success. And I want to get back to that. The execution is very, very important, because more than likely the numbers won't come right away. Like it's getting a new idea off and it hitting right away is really, really rare. And like that's how dad jokes happened, and that's a high you don't want to chase, because that's just not how content works. Some people do hit a run where it's boom, 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 but then when that stops, they damn near go insane. So when you kind of just set in your mind that this is going to be a slow build, then you should just worry about execution. If you get 5 views, but it was executed perfectly, you now have an IP that can go forever. Don't worry about the views, as long as it's exactly how you want it and it's clean, and you can now you have an IP. And that's what I really try to push on a lot of the creators that are around me, is like, you need to focus on IP. my YouTube channel used to just be shit. It used to just be like rants and rants and rants, and then skits. There was no even just calling a playlist something like Pat Geo. I'm going to do animal videos in this playlist, and it's going to have this title. I noticed that even though people were coming up to me like, hey, I like your channel, now they're coming up and they're saying, hey, Pat Geo. Now they associate me with a brand or an IP. And that's when I was like, oh, okay, this makes way more sense than just rants, even though I still do rants or just skits. It's like, attach yourself to an IP, because that can go somewhere. You know what I mean? Whether you sell it to a digital media company and it stays on YouTube, but you're getting paid, or a better audience, or, you know, something that can upstream to television or Netflix. You never know. And a lot of comedians do this unknowingly by doing stand-up, because stand-up can go somewhere, but it is still very general. And that's why I think it's important that people carve something out, whether it's just your niche in the brand. Not everybody is built for making IPs. So it could just be your niche. It could be like, I'm a comedian who is super dark, and, you know, I talk about this stuff. This is my niche. I'm a comedian that's this, as opposed to just like, I'm a funny comedian. So I think it's really just about carving out your execution, and then realizing that once I build on this, I'm building something up that I can do, as opposed to just getting followers, which a lot of people just wrap themselves in.
Okay.
Because I mean, think about all the influencers that get an amazing following. There'll be like millions of views, but you don't really know what they do. They don't have like a thing. And then they're just like, damn, I got all these followers. Why isn't Hollywood hitting me up? I should be in all these movies. And it's just like, well, you were just kind of doing random stuff to get people to know about you. But like, what's the brand? Like, would Hollywood even know what to hit you up for? Because followers doesn't mean you can act. or do stand up, or, you know, XYZ. So I think it's just about, like, you know, building a brand up.
Okay, so kind of want to switch gears a little bit and talk about Cloudy merch. Today is a release day.
It is.
You want to talk about it? Oh,
There is a release day. Very, very cool. I'm not selling Reptar. I would get sued. But yeah, just dropped a little cloud. It's pretty cool. It's like I'm very surgical with my approach, and I've been kind of dropping little animation things here and there, because I've been writing a cartoon for ever since I was in college. And I kind of just didn't want to drop it. I kind of wanted to establish myself in the animation space. So I just made this little design. I didn't make it. I can't draw at all. But yeah, it's me and my little pet fox, Foggy. But yeah, you're gonna be seeing versions of this character a lot through my cartoon escapades. But right now it's a tee that I'm gonna be eventually pairing with my album.
Okay, nice.
And just real quick, Cloudy Croc collab coming soon too.
Okay, I like that. The cloud logo with the little smiley face, that's like the cutest thing ever.
Hey,
like,
thank you.
How did that come about?
So I used to, I never really got in trouble at school, but for people who know who I am now, I got in trouble for very like on brand stuff. Like I asked a lot of questions. I was constantly like daydreaming and drawing stuff in class. And that cloud is basically the oldest thing that I have ever remembered drawing. I drew it in 3rd grade on a pink piece of paper. And then I found that in high school, and then I lost it. And then I found it again in college, and it kept just popping up. And then I was like, okay, I always wanted tattoos, but I didn't know when to start. And I was like, okay, this is going to be my first tattoo. So I got the cloud first right here, and then started getting stuff around it. And yeah, I drew it in class, and it kind of looked like it could be a flower or a cloud. Because around that time I played a video game. I always liked the name Cloud, and I played Final Fantasy where the main character was just named Cloud. And I was just like, oh, you can just call yourself that. So I thought of I think I just attached to Cloud, and then Patrick Cloud came way after. Because the first like artistic nickname I gave myself was Saint P. Like Saint Patrick. Oh, it was terrible. I had it like airbrushed on a hat. And it's like nobody wanted to call me that shit. It's a stupid nickname, and I regret it.
Did you like make people call you that? Like,
Huh?
Did you make people call you that? Like,
You know what's crazy? It was one of those like lame ass things that people did where they said I said people called me that, but nobody called me that.
oh,
I pretended somebody gave me that nickname. I absolutely made it up myself. It was like something I was trying to force and make work. Which is funny because the same thing happened with Patrick Cloud. I made it up, but just people liked it more. And I had a blog on, what was that, Tumblr? I wonder if it's still up. It's like Cloud. It was like it's like Cloud something, but it was like a ship in the clouds. That was the logo. And that's when I first came up with the Patrick Cloud aesthetic. And I was like posting little things on there, and like girls would tell me like the whole Patrick Cloud thing, I really like that. And I was like, okay, that's it.
Okay, so I want to talk about gaming a little bit.
It's gonna look really bad, but it's so dope. This first level is goated. Immediate smoke. Everything's on fire. It's ridiculous.
Just a general question that I'm kind of wondering, and since you're like a gamer and you collaborate with a lot of gamers, what do you think it is about gaming that kind of like turns people up a little bit, like next level? Another, like sometimes like your personality, like different parts of your personality comes out.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It literally turns you up. Okay.
So like, what's your take on that? Like, why do you think that happens?
I mean, I think it's just a non-athletic form of competition. You know, a lot of people's competitive nature comes out basketball, football, and stuff like that, and are naturally competitive. I am not naturally competitive at all. So when you think of stuff like Taboo and Uno and stuff like that, when I see people fighting in Uno and in spades, it's the same energy as when they're fighting in a sports bar about LeBron. It's the same energy in a Call of Duty lobby. You know, it's just competitiveness, passionateness, if that's a word, and loserness. Because when people lose, especially when they were going in, there a lot of people blow up like that. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not really competitive. Even with video games, I have always been like a single player game, adventure game, you know, kind of competing with myself, competing with the game. But no, I mean, Uno and all that, it takes me there too. So I personally just think it's like a more accessible, more fun way to be competitive, because not everybody is out there on the court. So you got, you know, us normal people in the house, all with our friends, you know, playing Uno. You hit that draw 4 and stack it a couple times, you might find out people's real opinions about you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay. Well, what's your favorite part about doing Cloudy Arcade?
Man, Cloudy Arcade is so dang fun. I'm learning a lot. I'm definitely learning a lot. Gaming is really interesting because honestly, me and probably millions of other people just got lucky because gaming got so big. Like I grew up, gaming was like the biggest thing. It was the most awesome thing to me, but it wasn't like a big deal. And it could have stayed like that, you know, but now it's like $1 billion industry. All these people, now there's like an actual benefit from it. So I can put time into it. And I love that because a long time when I was working at All Def, I had the mindset that gaming was a waste of time. Sitting down and playing this game, even though I wanted to, was taking hours out of my day. But then when the gaming industry kind of like blew up, it was like, okay, you can Twitch stream, you could make a business and actually enjoy these games and still be working, right? So with Cloudy Arcade, it's like it's a lot of learning. Being live is a completely different creative space than just recording. You know, you lose the ability to cut and gain your composure. You like right now, we are looking at each other. If I forget where I am and pick my nose, the world saw it, right?
Yeah.
So you really have to watch yourself. You can't commit to just streaming for hours and hours on end, just talking trash. That's why I can't believe that people just get drunk as hell and just podcast or stream. You know what I mean? Like, you are going to ruin your career putting yourself in the position to just be live spewing random stuff all the time. You're going to eventually slip up. So it teaches you a lot about, how you are on camera, how to interact, because a lot of people are streaming because they didn't know what to do when they were on IG Live. It's a very big skill to just be by yourself and keep a conversation going. That's why a lot of people's IG Live is just them waiting, looking like this at the comments, waiting for something. Oh, hey, what's up, man?
Yeah.
Oh, going on. But now they're like, okay, I could do that, but I'm also like doing something,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Cloudy Arcade is just like, it teaches you how to interact with people, build a community, because that was the coolest thing about the pandemic for me, was like Twitch streaming with my friends, meeting all these people in my chat. They're talking to each other. Like, sometimes they don't even care about what I'm doing. They're talking to each other about their weekend and all that stuff. I met so many cool people and built so many formats just around gaming. And it was like, I was kind of already doing it on my page, but I was like, okay, if I stream too much and don't do enough Pat Geo, it's just going to look too cluttered. So I just took everything off and I was like, all right, let me just do gaming on Cloudy Arcade. And it's just giving me the freedom to do so much other things within gaming instead of just the occasional gaming content.
So, last question, just to talk about representation a little bit. So, I feel like you have a very cool persona. I feel like a lot of your peers and stuff acknowledge you that way. They refer to you that way on shows and stuff. But I feel like the coolness is built of stuff that's like non-stereotypical coolness, I feel like you're kind of like a representation for individuality. So do you see yourself that way?
As cool or a representation for individuality?
Yeah, the second one.
I think so. I definitely think so. I mean, or at least I want to be, I try to push that. And I think that it is cool to hear that, because I think that it's important, or it's always been important, to not like, I don't really like put it on people, I think it just goes, I think I just kind of like try to do it. For as an example, I don't really do like videos that's just like, be yourself, being in, if you want to do a scarf like this, do it. If you want to do, I don't really like, put it on people. I kind of just do it. And I think a lot of it came from watching other comedians make fun of me and stuff, and kind of just stuff like that. But maybe that's how it transfers to people, is just kind of like by example, which I prefer. And I don't really check in like that. Like, is it working? So it is cool to be, to hear that people think of it like that. But I think it's just a big part of it for me was, growing up, obviously you know this, but just for the audience, growing up Black is a interesting experience, because there's a lot of like things that you're supposed to do and act like and feel like and stuff like that. And I just when I really realized it, I just kind of like unsubscribed to a lot of it. And when I just was just like, nah, I'm not gonna do all of that, it just a lot of things changed. Myself, how other people viewed me, and I don't mind getting made fun of. So when I started noticing that a lot of people who were making fun of me were like kind of like doing the same thing after, I was like, oh, that's the process. Like, somebody does something, everybody's like, ha ha ha, and they're like, wait, let me try that. Oh, this is kind of cool, So I don't do that so that people copy me or do stuff. I just felt like that was a freedom that was way more fun than like, Yeah, I'm gangster. I'm a gangster. Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, no homo. You know what I mean? Like just doing that's the same act. And I just like how it reads to people, you know. I think it's very, very authentic, and I like that.
Okay. So this last thing is not a question. So, your show, Dad Joke.
Why did the birdie go to the hospital?
Why?
He needed a tweetment.
Like when I found out that that was a show, I really like enjoyed it because I used to tell like dad jokes,
Nice.
a lot of times. So when I have guests on my show, like I want to do something like that's a part of their world. So I'm gonna tell you a dad joke, and then I want you to rate it.
Okay. Okay, cool. So I get to rate it. It's not if I laugh or not, right?
Oh, you don't have to laugh.
Well, no, I know. The rating isn't because the thing is, people come up to me and tell me dad jokes all the time, and if I don't laugh, they think that they're not funny because I laugh at everything. But it's really I just been doing the show for so long. I've heard most of them. Yeah. So yeah. I'm just saying that to say if I don't laugh, I'll rate it, but that doesn't mean it's not funny.
Okay.
That was a terrible way to prep you. I'm sorry.
Yeah. What is a DJ's favorite part of pizza?
Favorite part of the pizza?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I thought you were gonna say what is a DJ name his son? I haven't heard this. I'm excited. Favorite part of the pizza? I'm not gonna try to guess. Go ahead.
Never.
Here's why I both love and hate that joke at the same time. So the joke I thought you were gonna say was kind of the same joke, but I've never heard this version of it. It's the joke that I've heard was what does a DJ name his son? Eric. But I didn't. First of all, I've never heard the Bearpit there. Okay,
good.
I'm gonna give that a strong B+. I liked it.
Okay, I'll take that. All right. Well, I want to thank you for being a guest and talking to me about everything that you do. You're on social media, Instagram at Patrick Cloud. So anyone watching, be sure to follow him. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel at Tiffany Avayé Takes. I'm also on Instagram at Tiffany Avayé Takes. Thank you for watching.